Hey everyone, my name's Jamila and I will be talking about Venus square Pluto in Synastry. But first and foremost, I want to start talking about Venus and what it represents. So, Venus represents the planet of love. Venus is the planet of love. It represents romance, money, beauty, art. Venus speaks to the way you express your desires, your passions, what you value, and how you relate and experience pleasure. It also influences how you socialize, relate to, and how you attract others. Venus rules Taurus and Libra. Venus in Taurus is a fixed sign. Venus in Libra is an air sign, a cardinal sign. It's the instigator. Fixed signs finish things. Cardinals start things and don't necessarily always finish things. It just depends, But anyway, moving on to Pluto now. Pluto symbolizes regeneration, death, transformation, rebirth, the undercurrent, the unconscious mind. Pluto gets things done. And when you're going through a transformation and a rebirth, a new approach and a new perspective is what happens when Pluto is involved. It helps, an individual to look at things differently, to transform and evolve their views and their outlooks on life. Now, this can happen willingly or not. Pluto does not play games. Pluto digs deep. It wants you to grow. It wants you to evolve. So whether this happened through love or through pain or through positive experiences or negative experiences, it will happen. Now, Pluto rules Scorpio along with Mars. Now, I'm going to start talking about Venus square Pluto in Synastry. I do want to make it clear that it all depends. When you have, having Pluto in your natal chart has its own... My Mercury is in Pisces and I'm trying to keep it together for you guys. I am just floating in the ethers right now and it's late. It is 1:34 in the morning, but I really wanted to do this audio today. So anyway, back to it. Now, when it comes to Pluto and having Pluto personally aspecting your personal planets, which is your sun, your moon, your Venus, your Mercury, your Mars, the outer planets, those are generationally done. So a whole generation will have the outer planets, which is Neptune, Saturn, Uranus, Pluto. But anyway, back to the personal planets. If you have Pluto in your chart natally, you will have an understanding of how Pluto works for you and what it represents to you, depending on what house it falls in. So you will have an understanding of what it feels like to have power and have power taken away from you. For example, if you have Pluto aspecting your sun in the 7th house, say you have a square, you often probably have experienced individuals overpowering you, not realizing that you have that power as well. You have the power to be your own individual. You have the power to withdraw and be your own. Or you constantly went through power struggles with people, whether that's in business, because obviously the 7th house is partnerships and marriages. It's you and the other person. It's the opposite to the 1st house. So with you with you having a Pluto, aspecting your sun, and it's in the 7th house, for example, you will have this happen often, unfortunately. But once you learn to master the Pluto in your chart, you are a complete person. You have a greater awareness of how to move and maneuver and how to deal with your own sense of power without abusing your power as well. Or in some situations, you can be the person that's overbearing. You can be the person that's over dominating the other person, whether that means your business partner or your romantic partner, or your best friend, for example. I hope I'm making sense. Sorry, guys, if I'm not, but I hope I am. So I hope you get what I'm trying to say. So if you are a person that has Pluto personally aspecting your personal planets, and you meet someone and then you have these contacts in your chart, this will feel familiar to you. So you know how to conduct yourself. But even so, you may not know how to conduct yourself. You may consume this person, or you will feel like, oh, I feel at home. This is what I like. This is what I desire. I live for the intensity. And some people might say they even love it, but some people might actually hate it because you may meet your match, literally. So, yeah. Anyway, I hope you get what I'm trying to say, but I am going to make another audio on this anyway. Anyway, so Venus square Pluto in Synastry. Venus is drawn to Pluto like a moth to a flame, but this is not always one-sided. However, it all depends. Because if the Venus person has Venus square Pluto in their own chart, or Venus aspecting Pluto in their own chart, they will know how to navigate this. And they can switch between roles. So they can switch roles, So they could be Pluto and they can be Venus. I'm hoping you get what I'm trying to say. But anyway, Pluto is drawn to Venus because Pluto sees Venus as that piece, that missing puzzle, that piece that they need to feel fulfilled. Now, I'm not saying Pluto is not fulfilled on their own, but on a subconscious level, on an unconscious level, Pluto knows or has this feeling on an intuitive level that Venus can provide them that empathy, that sensitivity to understand why they move the way they move, why they act the way they act, why they behave the way they behave. And Venus wants to help Pluto, whether they are aware of it or unaware of it. They're just drawn to Pluto. And Pluto feels seen. Pluto feels acknowledged. Pluto feels like, wow, you can see me? Like, what? Like, you think I'm beautiful? And Venus is like, yeah, I do. To me, Venus square Pluto in Synastry is like the Beauty and the Beast. And I don't literally mean literally the Beauty and the Beast, because a beast can be a terminology used in various ways. And so yeah. Now, in some cases, Venus can literally be swallowed by Pluto. Pluto can become obsessive, controlling, stalking, telling them what to do. And Venus can not realize what she's getting herself into. And when I say she, I don't want to mean, oh yeah, Venus is a she. I'm just using it as an example because this could be a male in this position and the person they're dealing with is a female and their Pluto is aspecting their Venus, or vice versa, whatever the case may be for your situation, okay? Or it could be a girl and a girl, a boy and a boy, whatever it is for your situation. I'm just trying to give you an example. So, with that being said, it all depends on the individual and how grown and mature they are. And like I said, how they deal with their own sense of power and how evolved they are. Because if you're dealing with an individual, a Pluto individual that's not evolved, this can get nasty and gritty really quickly. I do believe that this can work out. Although this is a very intense aspect, I do believe it depends on the two individuals at hand here, how emotionally aware and how emotionally mature they are. If this is someone or both people that lack emotional intelligence and that are emotionally immature, this can go pear-shaped very quickly. This could get physical to the point that the police gets involved. I'm not joking. This could be a situation where Pluto meets Venus online, for example. They go on a date. Pluto says, do you want to come around my house? And Pluto takes advantage of Venus and sexually abuses her. It can get really ugly. It's not always the case, but with the square, this can happen. All right? Again, that's an extreme case though. It's not always the case, but that can happen. Now, at the same time, if these people are evolved and they feel that they can be vulnerable with each other and they are aware that being vulnerable is not a weakness but a strength, because Pluto may not get his way with Venus, but if he's emotionally mature and has that emotional intelligence and doesn't allow his controlling and possessiveness and obsessiveness to get the better of him, he will then know that I'm going to be vulnerable with Venus. I'm going to tell Venus how I feel, and Venus can either be, be understanding and be what I need or want her to be and be there for me, or she can move on and I'm going to let her. Or Venus could reciprocate and be honest and be like, you know what, I feel that way too. I don't want to lose you, or I have these insecurities. And then Pluto's like, me too. And then they're there for one another. They work with each other, and they are aware of their flaws and they don't allow it to consume the relationship. It just depends. Now, in some cases, Venus can feel repelled by Pluto. And then Pluto will feel disappointed because obviously it's like, damn, I actually checked for Venus, but, what can I do? Pluto may have a hard time letting go of Venus and vice versa. Venus might find it very hard to let go of Pluto as well. I do feel like both have the power to release each other and move on, although it would not be easy. They definitely would not forget one another. They would think about each other here and there, even if they do move on, which will not be easy. It could be 2 years from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, and they still remember each other, because whether or not this relationship ends in flames or a mutual decision to let go because it's just not working out because there's too many differences, they will not forget each other. They definitely will miss the attention and the admiration that they receive from one another or from one person, And I also want to mention that Pluto can be very insightful. Pluto can teach Venus a lot. Pluto is very insightful, especially if they're an evolved Pluto. They could know a lot. And Venus could have a lot of insecurities too. Venus might feel like she's not beautiful enough. Venus may feel like she's not worthy. Venus might feel like she lacks self-love, And I feel like Pluto can definitely be that anchor that she needs to be like, you are good enough. Even if I can't be that person for you, you are enough, But a lot of ugly attributes can come to the surface for both of them. Jealousy, feeling out of place, but they do constantly think about each other. It's like they have this psychic connection. They deeply care about one another. They do, whether they admit it or not. I also want to mention that this can work out in a long-term relationship. I've seen this in marriages, and I've seen this in short-term partnerships where things just don't work out, whether they mutually agree to let go or it ends up in flames where they're just screaming, yelling, hitting, blocking, or these are the couples or dating or whatever where they follow each other on social media and every time they have a dispute they unfollow each other. Okay, a classic example of this, it's not funny, sorry, I have a sick sense of humor, is Krishan and Blueface. Okay, I see it online. I don't know if you're aware of that couple. I see them online going through it. It's very unhealthy. But when I looked at their synastry, I believe they actually have 8th house synastry. So I'm not surprised. I haven't looked at the aspects too much. But anyway, it's just drama. But again, it depends on who they are and what they've got going on in their own chart and how evolved they are. You know, like I said, I've seen married couples, and this is a love that never dies. You know, even when you hate them, you love them. And even when you love them, you hate them. It's a very, you know, sketchy situation. But that's all I have to say for now in this aspect. I do want to revisit this and talk about it again. But if you are someone that has this in your synastry with someone, or even natally, feel free to leave a comment. I would love to hear your stories. You know, I would love to respond to you. I will respond to each and every one of you. I personally have experienced this myself. I have this natally as well. And I will be talking about Venus opposing Pluto, Venus sextile, trine, and conjunction as well in synastry. If there's anything specific as well that you want me to talk about, please let me know in the comments and I will talk about it. But I have to go. My son is going to wake up any moment now. It's getting late anyway. But thank you for listening. And this is my first audio talking about Venus square Pluto. But anyway, take care, guys, and I'm out. Speak to you soon. Bye.